What's going on, people? Hope you're doing good. Welcome back. I am back to doing normal reviews. As you know, the Wallace and Gromit video has finally been uploaded. And thanks for the response, by the way. It's been very positive. And thanks for getting me to 350 subscribers. This really means a lot to me. I'm really glad you lot are really enjoying the videos. Thank you, honestly, so much. The first movie I'm going to review this year is a little film called Wolfman. Now, this was directed by Leigh Whannell. And I was very excited for this film because I like Leigh Whannell's work. I really did like The Invisible Man. I thought Upgrade was sick. Insidious 3, we don't really talk about that one. But overall, I think he is a really talented director. And when I saw he was directing Wolfman, I was like, okay, yeah, this could work. A little self-contained monster movie inside a house, small scale. Could be a really cool horror movie. And I went to see it. I've not long just come back. And unfortunately, I didn't really like this film. Before I get into the review, I do want to say that I will be spoiling the film a little bit because I feel like it's one of those cases where I can't talk about it without spoiling it. So if you don't want the film spoiled, feel free to click off the video. Before I get into the negatives, I do want to mention some things that I liked. For one, I thought the makeup and gore was absolutely brilliant. The makeup artist did an absolutely phenomenal job. There are some really gnarly scenes in this movie. And I think because of the makeup, it just made them even more terrifying and disgusting. So hats off to the makeup artist, they did a great job. I also really did like some of the build-ups to scares. That's mainly thanks to the sound design. I like how it's really booming when you're in the Wolfman's POV. And then you just hear the cracks and crunches when you hear him transforming. Like, those sort of audio cues really made those scenes even more terrifying and nerve-wracking. And I thought there was some really cool directing choices. I like how we go from one moment where we're looking at the human's POV, and then we slowly go towards the Wolfman's POV. And his vision's all like weird and bright, and his like hearing is all muffled. You can't tell what people are saying. I thought that was really interesting to direct those scenes in that way. But other than those points, I really didn't get into this film. For one, the characters. Now, the main character I don't think was bad at first. Basically, he was a little boy. He had an abusive father who put him in really dangerous situations. And I was like, okay, so he's going to grow up to be like an abusive father or someone who's like got a short temper. But in the very next scene, he's just a chill guy. Like, yeah, he has a daughter. Yeah, he tells her off for good reason. So his character arc is kind of finished in the second scene of the movie. His wife has her struggles, but they don't do anything to impact the story. She just has cliche conflict. And I don't remember any of these characters' names because they're just not that interesting. Even the little girl, who is probably the most likable character because she's a kid. I mean, you know, you see a kid in a horror movie, you instantly worry about them. That's it. They're just not interesting. And what makes it worse is that the Wolfman is an allegory for, like, abuse. And it's meant to be like, oh, the abused becomes the abuser. But you don't believe it because, as I mentioned, in the very next scene after the intro, he's a chill guy. So he really doesn't go through any sort of development, really. The characters also make really stupid decisions. Like, of course, the one thing that you really want to do when there's a Wolfman running around is go out into the woods. That makes perfect sense. And also, this movie doesn't follow its own rules. They establish very early on that the Wolfman only comes out at night. But in the very first scene and last scene, he's out in the day. And also, they just cut from night to day so suddenly. One moment it's pitch black, and then the next shot, it's daylight. In fact, I think they reused one shot in the last scene. I'm pretty sure of it. And I think they just, like, tried to get the continuity right by making it daylight. But it just makes no sense. So really, the editing was at fault as well. The second worst thing about this movie is the use of jump scares. Yes, that thing. Oh, this movie is littered with them. Usually Leigh Whannell is really creative with jump scares. But in this had the most cliche jump scares ever. The family sitting in a car. Oh, the windows all, like, mudded up. Oh, I wonder what will happen. She's trying to get the car started. Or I think either the headlights will come on, or the windscreen wiper will show the Wolfman outside. Lo and behold, one of those things happen. Oh, what's that? He's put his ear next to a door? Oh, it's not like the Wolfman's gonna like burst through the door, go through the cat flap. What happens? The Wolfman goes through the cat flap and grabs him. I mean, you could just see these jump scares coming from a mile away. And also, I could not see half the things happening in this movie. This movie is way too dark. There's this whole scene in a barn. Honest to God, I could not see a damn thing. Not a thing at all. Pitch black cinema, no light, could not see anything. The lighting in this movie was really bad at times. I also just think some of the set pieces were not that interesting. There was one that was kind of cool where the Wolfman's like ripping through the roof of this like greenhouse sort of building thing. That was kind of cool, even though they do rip off a moment from Jurassic Park. Those just sort of moments just really didn't grab me. And finally, the acting just wasn't great. Now, there's no bad actors in this movie. I've seen them in many other good films. They are good actors. But they just do not work in this film. Christopher Abbot, now he's a good actor. And I do think his physical performance when he turned into the Wolfman, I thought he was really good like that. But when he was just as the normal human, he was so dry and unemotional. If you want an example of his acting, there's a moment at the start of the movie, the first Wolfman attack. This guy gets pulled away by it, and the guy just reacts like... like just no emotion on his face or anything. And Julia Garner, again, another great actress. Just so dry. She has one emotion, which is like sad. And also, she just doesn't react scared or terrified. I think she screams like twice in the film, and those were her best parts. So honestly, the performances were really bad, really disappointing. If anything, Matilda Firth, who plays a character called Ginger, that's the child's name, Ginger. I'll leave you to discuss if you think that's a really stupid name or not. She was pretty good in this film. She was probably the one actor who was really good, which is quite rare for a child actor to be the best actor in a movie. So overall, Wolfman was a big disappointment. The makeup and gore effects were brilliant. There were some really interesting pieces of direction, and there were a few tense moments throughout the film. But the characters were really boring, the jump scares were lame, stupid character decisions, weird editing choices, continuity issues, doesn't follow its own rules, all over the place acting. I really did not get into Wolfman. This film really annoyed me. As I said, I like Leigh Whannell's work, he's a good director at times, but this weren't it, Chief. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to give Wolfman a 4 out of 10. And guys, that is it for the end of this review. If you have seen Wolfman, do let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. And see you later.